I'm in red form, in a red state, such a red case on a red song. In a shared space with my shareholders, cause we share a bond. Spiritual health care, that's real self-care, you won't care for.
I got my Mets hat on to the back. Y'all already know where we going with the stats.
Any artist that's talking garbage and try to curse us, y'all follow a wave and do whatever's current. I follow his ways, I know my turn is coming.
Welcome to New York Giants Full Access. What's going on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all platforms? Welcome to another episode of New York Giants Full Access with your boy Big Pat Sports Talk. In today's episode, later episode, gonna premiere it here soon. Today we're gonna be talking about the subject that everybody's been talking about, you know, on the streams, on your platforms, on your Twitter platform, Facebook, Instagram, anything where Giants has been talked about. And everybody's been talking about the whole Saquon Barkley saga and how the Giants are absolutely doomed because Saquon Barkley is not signing his franchise tag and he might hold out. And if he does hold out, the New York Giants are absolutely doomed. They won't be able to do anything because Saquon Barkley was the whole New York Giants offense last year. No questions about it, no doubt about it. Saquon Barkley was everything with the New York Giants. If Saquon Barkley wasn't doing anything, the New York Giants couldn't do anything. They couldn't move the ball. They couldn't do anything. Everything, every successful thing they had to do about the offensive side of the ball was due to Saquon Barkley going throughout the season. They crap on Daniel Jones, saying if you bought property, if Daniel Jones was property, he'd be a garage. LaShawn McCoy said that, and everybody's just running with it. He, ha, 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 ha. Daniel Jones sucks. Daniel Jones ain't never done nothing without Saquon Barkley. Look at his stats without Saquon Barkley. Look what he did last year. Was his best year, and he only threw 15 touchdowns. La 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 la. Laugh, laugh, laugh. Bash, bash, bash. Kill DJ, the quarterback for the New York Giants, because he ain't worth dog doo-doo. Like, Daniel Jones just didn't do anything last year unless Saquon Barkley was doing something. So you know what I said? I was at work. I couldn't wait to get off work today to do this video. And you know what I said? I said, okay. So we all know Saquon Barkley was doing his thing last year. Not taking anything away from the man. Loved what this man has done for the Giants his 5 years being here. And he's been through hell just like Daniel Jones has been through hell being here under Dave Gettleman. So they get Joe Shane and Brian Daboll, and they both have pretty much career years together. That's a fact. That's an absolute fact. So instead of me just talking things to you, I want to show you guys some numbers, and then you guys, you know, continue to bash Daniel Jones, continue to bash Big Pat Sports Talk for defending Daniel Jones. But let's go to the media room, the big board. Let's pull up some numbers, man. Let's go. All right, so we're going by the game log from Mr. Saquon Barkley. As you know, 295 carries, 1,312 yards, 10 touchdowns last year for the New York Giants. Now, in the interview, he was saying that, man, he was just getting pounded every game. Pause. Like, he was just getting the ball, boom, giving the ball, boom, giving the ball, boom, giving the ball, boom. Like that basically throughout the whole season, correct? So when I think of like boom, giving the ball, boom, giving the ball, boom, giving the ball, I think at least a good 20 carries for the game, correct? So let's not even look at the stat things wise. So I'm trying to see how many games did he have over 20 carries in the game. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. out of the 16 games that he played, there was only 6 games where he carried the ball over 20 times. 6. So if they were just working him like an absolute animal, like they were over there in Tennessee with King Henry, would he not have more than 6 games with 20 or more carries? Because the way you guys talk is like Saquon Barkley was getting 20 to 25 carries a game all season long, which is not the case. Which is not the case. Let's look after the Houston game when he had his most carries, 35. Do you know that he didn't have over 20 carries the rest of the season after that? Do you know that that man did not have over 20 carries the rest of the season after that? And 2 games, he only had 9 carries in one game and 11 carries in the other. 12 in one game. So he was more closer to 10 than he was to 20. But they would just feed him, killing his body. But you didn't have 20 carries in not one game after the Texans game. You had that stretch where it was Houston, Seattle, Jacksonville, Baltimore, where you had 20 carries a game. 4 games. Where you were getting, where they was handing you the ball, boom, handing you the ball, boom. But other than that, they didn't use you like a hyena or anything out there. You didn't get 20 carries in a game, not once, after November 13th against the Houston Texans. Not once. So where's where they were just pounding you to just killing you throughout the whole season? Where is it? Where's the evidence of that? Where's the evidence of that? Like a Derrick Henry. Where's the evidence of that? There's none there. And all the stuff that he's talking about was after the bye week, right? So after the bye week, the whole offense was Saquon Barkley, correct? Okay, let's look at the stats. Against the Lions, a loss, 15 carries for 22 yards. Against the Cowboys, a loss, 11 carries for 39 yards. Here we go. Washington, it was a tie. 18 carries for 63 yards. He also had a touchdown in that game, a touchdown in Dallas. Against Philadelphia, 9 carries, 28 yards. No touchdowns. And a blowout loss to Philadelphia. Against Washington, we won 20-12. 18 carries for 87 yards and a touchdown. Against Minnesota, a loss, 27-24. 14 carries for 84 yards, 1 touchdown. Against the Colts, 12 carries, 58 yards, no touchdowns. Then you want to go into the playoff game. Not counting the Philly game, everybody got destroyed in that game. Against Minnesota, 9 carries, 53 yards, 2 touchdowns. So, his total amount of rushing yards after that big game that he had against Houston was 106 carries for 434 yards and 6 touchdowns. 33 receptions. Let's count his reception yards. 33 receptions for 182 yards, no touchdowns. For a total of 616 yards and 6 touchdowns in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games. In 8 games, he had a total of 616 yards and 6 total touchdowns in the final 8 games of the season, not counting the Philadelphia game. Because I'm not counting that one. Everybody got destroyed in that game. That was an absolute embarrassment. So this man was the whole offense. In the final 8 games, he had 616 yards and 6 total touchdowns. That's less than 100 yards a game and less than a touchdown a game. But he was the whole New York Giants offense all last season. That's what the media is telling you. He was the whole New York Giants offense all last season. In the final 8 games of the season, he had 616 total yards. That's rushing and receiving, and 6 total touchdowns rushing and receiving. Okay, so let's look at the guy that they poo-poo in order to build Saquon Barkley up. And believe me, I love Saquon Barkley. I love what he brings for the Giants. I hope he's a Giant for life. But I'm going to call a spade, bro. Let's look at Mr. Daniel Jones. Stuff had me writing notes at work. Now, after the Houston game, let's look up Mr. Daniel Jones. 27 against Detroit. 27 of 44, 341 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Sacked twice, 7 carries, 50 yards, 1 touchdown rushing. The Dallas Cowboys, 21 completions out of 35 attempts, 228 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, 14 yards rushing. Against Washington, 25 of 31, 200 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, 12 carries, 71 yards rushing. Philadelphia, in a loss, a brutal loss, 18 to 27, 169 yards passing, 1 touchdown, sacked 4 times, 4 carries, 26 yards, 1 rushing touchdown. Washington, 21 completions, 32 attempts, no touchdowns, no interceptions, 10 carries, 35 yards rushing. Minnesota, 30 completions out of 42 attempts, 334 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, sacked 3 times, 4 carries, 34 yards rushing. Against the Colts, 19 of 24, 177 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no picks, 11 carries, 91 yards, 2 touchdowns. Let's go to Minnesota, the playoff game. 24 completions out of 35 attempts, 301 yards, 2 touchdowns, 17 carries, 78 yards, no touchdowns rushing. Now, when I compare my notes to both players, Daniel Jones, total yardage with rushing and passing, 2,309 yards total and 13 touchdowns total with only 3 turnovers. So he doubled the amount of touchdowns than Saquon Barkley and more than triple the amount, almost quadrupled the amount of yards that Saquon Barkley had. But Saquon Barkley was the whole offense. And get this, he had more rushing yards than Saquon Barkley in the playoff game against Minnesota. 78 yards to 56. Well, to 53, I'm sorry. Let's see. Detroit, Saquon Barkley only had 22 yards rushing. He had 50. Washington almost had an equal amount of yards as Barkley in that game. And he had more rushing yards than Barkley in the Colts game. So not only did he have more yardage and more touchdowns than Saquon Barkley down the stretch, he actually outrushed Barkley in 3 of the games. He actually outrushed Barkley in 3 of the final 8 games. Almost half of the games, Daniel Jones outrushed Barkley in those games. But Daniel Jones had nothing to do with the offense last year, especially down the stretch. He had nothing to do with it. He had 4 rushing touchdowns. Saquon Barkley had 6 rushing touchdowns. He only had 2 less rushing touchdowns than what Saquon Barkley had down the stretch. But Daniel Jones had nothing to do with the offense last year, especially down the stretch of games. It was all Saquon Barkley. If it wasn't Saquon Barkley, wasn't nothing happening. Oh, they lost games with Saquon Barkley wasn't doing anything. So that's all Daniel Jones' fault? Against the Lions? Against the Lions when he had 15 carries for 22 yards? None of the blame could be put on Barkley for that Lions game? The Cowboys game that we lost, 11 carries for 39 yards? None of the blame could be put on Saquon Barkley in that game? The Philadelphia game where we got destroyed 48-22, 9 carries for 28 yards. None of the blame can be put on Saquon Barkley in that game either. It was all Daniel Jones' fault, huh? Not that we lost Bellinger. Hodgins just came to the team. Not that we lost Evan Neal. Not that we lost Ben Bredesen. Not that we lost Izudu. Not that we lost damn near all our defense. Both corners. A linebacker. Our starting defense. Leo. Ojulari. McKinney. None of that matters. Because it was all on Daniel Jones. He the one that sucks. And it was just all Barkley all last year. It was just him. Even though Daniel Jones had almost quadrupled the amount of total yards and double the amount of touchdowns that he had. And had 399 yards rushing. And Saquon Barkley only had 434. And Barkley had 106 carries, and Daniel Jones' carries was only 68. So that man literally could have ran 40 quarterback sneaks and had the same amount of production as Saquon Barkley on his next 40 carries. But it was all Saquon Barkley. Y'all gonna continue to let this crap spew over into the New York Giants fan base? Y'all gonna continue to listen to these people? You gonna continue to listen to these people that don't watch the games, they don't even look at the stats? There's no way possible you can say that Saquon Barkley was the whole offense last year with these numbers. There's no way possible you can say that. Especially down the stretch. The last 8 games, the man only had 35 more rushing yards than Daniel Jones. So at the position that what you do, which is get rushing yards, that's what you are paid to do. You only had 35 more yards than Daniel Jones down the stretch. Saquon Barkley. and only 2 more touchdowns than Daniel Jones down the stretch, and he had 40 less carries. He outrushed Saquon Barkley in 3 of the final 8 games. So almost half of the last 8 games of the season, Daniel Jones led the team in rushing. But Saquon Barkley was the whole team. They would have been nothing without Saquon Barkley on the field. What it seems to me, we would have been even worse if Daniel Jones wasn't on the field. And the proof is in the pudding. The year before last, when Daniel Jones got hurt for the final 6 games and Saquon Barkley was there and we couldn't move the ball past the 50. Were we doing quarterback sneaks on second and third down when Daniel Jones was in the game? How many games did we win when Daniel Jones went out that season? You want to hear something else? Because you want to pick at Daniel Jones so much, you make people want to pick at Saquon Barkley. You know, Daniel Jones' first game, Saquon Barkley got hurt, and what happened? We came back and won. Well, who at quarterback? Daniel Jones. So you're going to tell me that a man was the whole offense down the stretch of the season, that the running back only had 35 more yards than the quarterback and only 2 more touchdowns than the quarterback, and the quarterback had 40 less carries, but the running back was the whole offense? Please explain that to me. The running back's the whole offense, but the quarterback has quadrupled the amount of yards to him and doubled the amount of touchdowns to him, but Barkley was the whole offense. If Barkley was the whole offense, why he didn't throw him 1 touchdown the whole season? If he was the whole offense, wouldn't you have a bunch of rushing touchdowns and a bunch of receiving touchdowns? If he's the whole offense, why would Daniel Jones be even able to outrush him in 3 games down the stretch? Explain that to me. Not to mention that he outrushed him in a couple of other games this season too. Y'all gotta explain this to me, man. But this is gonna be a premiere. I don't care what you say about me. This is not a Saquon Barkley bash session. This is just a truth session. And there's a lot of false stuff being put out here in these streets. It's not bashing the man to tell you that he was not the whole offense, and not even close. Not even close. There's no way you're the whole offense and your quarterback outrushed you in almost half of the games down the stretch, and it was only 35 yards of what you did. And if you take away Daniel Jones' passing yardage, it's still almost equal. The amount of yardage and amount of touchdowns that was going down the stretch of the season. It's still almost equal. And that's just running the ball. You understand? You understand? I'm telling you, man. Y'all could talk all that noise that you want about Daniel Jones. But if this team loses Daniel Jones, it's a wrap. It's the other way around, bro. We can survive without Barkley. Would it be tough? Heck yeah, it'd be tough because he's a great player. But it's already been proven that if they lose Daniel Jones, it's over with. But I got nothing else left to say. I got stats to prove and back up what I was saying. And you can poo-poo the stats. It's sitting right there in front of your face. I'm going by stats, what you guys love to see. And eye test. But this has been Big Pat Sports Talk. I had to get this off my chest. I was fuming at work. Just all the stuff that's being said. And I'll tell you what, Saquon, you better stop talking. Because they're getting ready to pull your file. Whoever you got backing you, behind you, or whatever cause that y'all might be fighting together, you better think about it twice. And then think about it again. Because I'm telling you, I don't think this is a battle you're going to win, sir. But until the next episode, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that big blue join button, and join the Big Blue crew and talk your talk, no matter what you thought. And until the next episode, man, I gotta get up out of here. Stuff pissing me off. Peace, man. This is a Big Blue Crew production.